April 3, 1962. Ray's Barbershop, 142nd Street. Tuesday afternoon. Bumpy Johnson sat in the chair getting a shave. Hot towel on his face. Eyes closed. Ray Williams worked the straight razor with 30 years of practice. 3 men walked through the door. Young. Italian. Guns visible under jackets. They didn't sit. Didn't wait. Just stood there looking at the back of Bumpy's head. The oldest one spoke. Bumpy Johnson? Ray's hand with the razor stopped. Bumpy's eyes stayed closed under the towel. Barber shops closed for private appointment. Come back in 30 minutes. We're not here for haircuts. Ray set the razor down. Carefully. His hands were shaking. He'd been Bumpy's barber for 16 years. Had seen things. Had heard stories. Had never been in the middle of one. Bumpy removed the towel. Looked at the 3 men in the mirror. You boys are making a mistake. No mistake. We got orders. Luciano family. What happened in the next 7 minutes left 3 bodies on the floor and 1 barber standing. Ray Williams killed all 3. Not because he was a killer. Because Bumpy told him exactly what to do, and Ray understood that following those instructions was the only way either of them survived. This wasn't about Ray's skill. This was about Bumpy's certainty. Ray Williams had been cutting hair in Harlem since 1932. Owned his shop since 1946. Built a reputation for quality work and discretion. Discretion mattered. His clients included operators, policy runners, street bosses, people who needed privacy, people who discussed business while getting haircuts. Ray heard things, knew things, never repeated things. This discretion made his shop valuable, made him trusted, made him someone Bumpy Johnson visited every Tuesday at 2 p.m. for 16 years. The routine never varied. Bumpy arrived at 2. Ray locked the door, put up the close sign. For 30 minutes, the shop belonged to Bumpy. Haircut, shave, conversation, sometimes business discussions, sometimes just silence. Ray understood his role. Provide service, maintain privacy, keep his mouth shut. For this, Bumpy paid well, protected the shop from shakedowns, made sure Ray's business thrived without interference. The relationship worked because both men understood boundaries. Ray was the barber. Bumpy was the client. The power imbalance was clear, but so was the mutual respect. The Luciano family's decision to hit Bumpy in Ray's shop violated several protocols. First, barbershops were neutral territory. Places where business wasn't conducted. Places where violence was avoided because everyone needed haircuts and everyone deserved that space protected. Second, the timing was too obvious. Everyone knew Bumpy's Tuesday routine. The lack of subtlety suggested either desperation or arrogance. Either way, it suggested poor planning. Third, they sent young soldiers. 3 men barely in their 20s. Capable shooters probably, but inexperienced with the kind of variables that complicated clean hits. Like barbers, like straight razors, like targets who stayed calm under pressure. The Luciano family had been testing Bumpy's boundaries for months. Small provocations, territory disputes, collection interference. Nothing major enough to justify war, but enough to signal they were considering one. This hit was the decision point. Either Bumpy would die, and the Luciano family would absorb his operations, or Bumpy would survive, and the response would clarify exactly where boundaries were. What the Luciano family hadn't calculated. Ray Williams was more than a barber. Was someone who'd survived Harlem for 30 years by being smart. By understanding when to act and how to act and what following instructions meant when instructions came from someone like Bumpy Johnson. The straight razor Ray used wasn't just a grooming tool. Was a weapon. In skilled hands as deadly as any knife. Ray had skill. Had used razors his entire adult life. Had the kind of precision that came from thousands of repetitions. He'd never killed anyone. Had never even considered it. But he understood angles. Understood vulnerable points on the human body. Understood exactly where the major arteries were and how little pressure was required to open them. This knowledge was about to become relevant. The moment the 3 men walked in, Ray knew something was wrong. Wrong time. Wrong energy. Wrong posture. They weren't customers. They were something else. He glanced at Bumpy. Bumpy's eyes were closed under the hot towel. But his body language had changed. Subtle. Not visible to the three men, but visible to Ray, who'd been reading Bumpy's body language for 16 years. Bumpy was ready, despite the hot towel, despite the vulnerable position, despite 3 armed men. He was ready. The oldest gunman stepped forward. Maybe 24. Irish-Italian features. Expensive suit. Gun in shoulder holster visible when his jacket moved. Bumpy Johnson, you're coming with us. I'm getting a shave. You're done getting a shave. Bumpy removed the towel slowly, looked at them in the mirror. His face was half covered in shaving cream. The position should have been vulnerable. Somehow wasn't. Ray, you know these boys? Ray's voice was steady, professional. Never seen them before. They seem upset about something. Seem that way. The oldest gunman pulled his gun, not pointing it directly, just showing it. Stop playing. Get out of the chair. We're leaving. Bumpy stayed seated. Ray hasn't finished my shave. I don't leave barber shops with half my face still lathered. It's undignified. You'll leave however we tell you to leave. Will I? The tone was wrong. All 3 gunmen recognized it. This wasn't fear. Wasn't compliance. Was something else. Something that suggested the power dynamic they assumed wasn't accurate. The second gunman moved to Bumpy's side. Gun out now. Pointed at Bumpy's head. Out of the chair. Last time we ask nicely. Bumpy looked at Ray. Finish the shave. Ray's hand was shaking. Bumpy, I don't think. Finish the shave, Ray. Something in Bumpy's voice. Command and reassurance mixed together. Ray picked up the straight razor. His hand steadied. Not completely, but enough. He moved toward Bumpy. The second gunman stepped back slightly. Didn't want to be in range of the razor. Instinct. Smart instinct. Not smart enough. 5 minutes, Bumpy said to the gunman. Give the man 5 minutes to finish his work. Then we can discuss whatever business brings you to my barber shop. The oldest gunman considered. 5 minutes didn't change their situation. Bumpy was unarmed, sitting in a chair. They had 3 guns. The barber had a razor. 5 minutes of shaving didn't alter the mathematics. 5 minutes. Then we go. Ray began shaving. Slow. Methodical. His professional routine. But his eyes kept darting to Bumpy. Looking for signals. Looking for instructions. Bumpy's eyes met his in the mirror. Then deliberately looked at the second gunman. Then back at Ray. The meaning was clear. Ray swallowed hard. Understood what Bumpy was telling him. Felt his stomach drop. He was a barber. Not a killer. Not someone who did violence. But he was also someone standing in a room with 3 men who would definitely kill him once they no longer needed him as witness. Someone whose survival depended on doing exactly what Bumpy was silently instructing. He continued shaving. Smooth strokes. Professional precision. Moving closer to the second gunman with each pass of the razor. Hurry up, the oldest gunman said. We don't have all day. Quality work takes time, Ray replied. His voice was steadier now. He'd made his decision. Whether it was the right decision wouldn't matter if he didn't survive the next few minutes. He moved to Bumpy's left side, the side closest to the second gunman. The razor moved across Bumpy's jaw. Clean stroke. Then another. Then Bumpy moved. Not much. Just shifted his weight. The chair tilted slightly. The second gunman adjusted his stance. Compensating. Ray's hand with the razor flashed out. Not at Bumpy. At the second gunman's throat. One motion. Faster than thought. 30 years of muscle memory applied to violence instead of grooming. The razor opened the carotid artery. Clean cut. Deep. Arterial spray immediate. The second gunman dropped his gun. Grabbed his throat. Blood poured between his fingers. He made a sound. Wet. Gurgling. Tried to speak. Couldn't. Collapsed. Everything happened fast after that. Bumpy came out of the chair. Grabbed the dropped gun. The oldest gunman was raising his weapon. Bumpy shot him twice. Center mass. Professional. Practiced. No hesitation. The third gunman fired. Missed. Panic shooting. Bumpy didn't miss. One shot. Forehead. Instantly fatal. 7 seconds. Maybe 8. 3 men down. 2 dead immediately. 1 bleeding out. Ray stood frozen. Razor still in hand. Blood covering his shirt. Covering his hands. Covering everything. His mind was blank. Shock. Horror. Disbelief that he'd just killed someone. Bumpy checked each body. Confirmed all 3 were dead or dying. Then turned to Ray. Put the razor down. Ray looked at his hand. The razor was shaking violently. He set it down on the counter. Missed. Clattered to the floor. Ray. Look at me. Ray's eyes found Bumpy's. You did what had to be done. You understand? Had to be done. Ray couldn't speak. Just stared. They were going to kill you. Soon as they got me out of here, you were dead. Witness elimination. Standard protocol. You understand. Ray nodded slowly. Understanding penetrating the shock. So you had 2 choices. Die as a witness. Or live by acting first. You chose correctly. I killed a man. Ray's voice was barely a whisper. You defended yourself and me. That's different. Is it? Yes. Intent matters. Necessity matters. You didn't want to kill anyone. You had to kill someone. The law understands that distinction. So do I. Bumpy walked to the phone. Dialed. Spoke briefly. Hung up. People are coming. They'll handle the cleanup. Handle the bodies. Handle the story. What story? 3 men tried to rob my barber. Shot at me. I returned fire. You were caught in the middle. Defended yourself with the only weapon available. Everything here is self-defense. Everything here is justified. Ray sat down. Legs wouldn't hold him anymore. The police will be told exactly what happened. 3 armed men. Clear threat. Justified response. You're a victim who defended himself. That's the story. That's what everyone will confirm. Will they believe it? They'll investigate. They'll confirm 3 guns. Confirmed Luciano family soldiers. Confirmed threat. They'll close it as justified. Then they'll forget about it because pursuing it creates problems nobody wants. Ray looked at the bodies. At the blood. At the destroyed shop he'd owned for 16 years. My business will be compensated. Shop will be cleaned. Repaired. Better than before. You'll reopen in 2 weeks. Clients will return. Life will continue. How can life continue after this? Bumpy sat down next to him. Because this is Harlem. Because violence happens. Because people survive it and keep living. You're not the first barber who had to defend his shop. Won't be the last. Ray's hands were still shaking. I can still feel it. The razor cutting. The way it just opened him. You'll feel it for a while. Then you'll feel it less. Eventually you'll understand it was necessary. That you had no choice. That you saved both our lives. Will I ever cut hair again without thinking about this? Probably not. But you'll cut hair. You'll continue your business. You'll survive this. That's what people do. Men arrived. Bumpy's people. They moved efficiently. Photographed the scene. Documented the guns. Called appropriate authorities. Began cleanup. Police detective arrived. Questioned both of them. Examined the scene. Confirmed 3 known Luciano soldiers. Confirmed weapons. Confirmed the narrative. Self-defense. Clear case. You'll both need to come to the station. Give formal statements. But this is straightforward. Ray gave his statement. Stuck to the facts. 3 men. Guns. Threat. Razor. Self-defense. The detective typed. Asked clarifying questions. Accepted the answers. They were released 4 hours later. The barbershop was already being cleaned by professionals. The blood was being removed. The bodies were gone. The damage was being assessed. Bumpy walked Ray home. 3 blocks. Neither spoke. At Ray's door, Bumpy stopped. You saved my life today. Ray looked at him. You saved mine by telling me what to do. We saved each other. That's how it works sometimes. The Luciano family will respond. Let them. They sent 3 soldiers to kill me in a barbershop. They failed. They learned. What happens next is between families. Not your concern. Will they come after me? No. Your civilian casualty who defended himself. They can't respond to that without looking weak. You're protected by circumstance. Ray nodded. Still processing. Still in shock. Take a few days. Rest. Process this. Then come back. Do what you do. Be the barber you've always been. This was an aberration. Not who you are. I killed a man with a straight razor. You defended yourself with the tool available. That's survival. That's human. That's forgivable. Ray Williams reopened his barbershop 17 days later. New floor. New chair. New mirror. Everything that had blood on it was replaced. Everything else was cleaned until it gleamed. His first customer was Bumpy Johnson. Tuesday at 2 p.m. Same routine. Same service. Same silence. Ray's hands shook for the first few minutes. Then steadied. Muscle memory. Professional training. 30 years of practice overriding trauma. Bumpy said nothing about the shaking. Just sat. Accepted the service. Left appropriate payment plus substantial tip. The routine continued. Every Tuesday. 2 p.m. for 6 more years until Bumpy died in 1968. They never discussed April 3, 1962 again. Never referenced it. Never processed it together. Just continued the relationship as if the day had never happened. But it had happened. And everyone in Harlem knew. The Luciano family never responded. Never retaliated. Never sent more soldiers. The failure was too complete. The message was too clear. Bumpy Johnson couldn't be taken in a barbershop by 3 young soldiers. Couldn't be taken anywhere without cost that exceeded any benefit. Ray Williams's reputation changed. He was still the barber. Still provided the same quality service. But people looked at him differently. Spoke to him differently. Treated him with the kind of respect that comes from knowing someone has killed. He never advertised what happened. Never told the story himself. Didn't need to. Harlem told it for him. Some versions were accurate. 3 gunmen. 1 razor. 3 bodies. Other versions were exaggerated. 5 gunmen. 10 gunmen. Ray killed them all single-handed. None of the exaggerations mentioned Bumpy's role. The legend became Ray's legend. He didn't correct the stories. Didn't embrace them. Just cut hair. Kept his mouth shut. Maintained the discretion that had made him valuable in the first place. The 3 dead men were buried quietly. Luciano family paid for funerals. Families were compensated. The failure was absorbed. The lesson was learned. Young soldiers were told about the barbershop. About the 3 men who underestimated a barber and a target. About how the obvious move isn't always the smart move. About how even vulnerable positions can become traps if the person in the chair is Bumpy Johnson. The story became teaching tool, cautionary tale, example of why you don't rush, why you don't assume, why you calculate before acting. Ray Williams cut hair for 18 more years. Died in 1980. Heart attack. Age 71. His obituary mentioned his long career, his contribution to Harlem's business community. His reputation for quality. Didn't mention April 3, 1962. Didn't mention 3 bodies. Didn't mention the straight razor that opened a carotid artery and saved 2 lives. But people who knew remembered. Told younger people. Passed down the story. The barber who killed 3 gunmen. The day Ray Williams became more than just Bumpy's barber. The straight razor Ray used that day? He never used it again for haircuts. Cleaned it. Put it in a drawer. Eventually threw it away. Couldn't stand looking at it. Couldn't stand remembering. He bought new razors. Continued his work. But every time he shaved someone, for the rest of his career, he remembered how easy it was. How little pressure was required. How fast a life could end. That knowledge changed him. Made him quieter. More careful. More aware of the tool in his hand and what it could do. Made him understand that everyone who sat in his chair was trusting him with their throat. with their life, with their vulnerability. That trust became sacred, because he'd violated it once, in self-defense, in necessity, in survival, but he'd violated it, and that violation, justified or not, stayed with him. 3 gunmen walked into Bumpy Johnson's barbershop on April 3, 1962. Only the barber walked out alive. That was the story. That was the legend. The truth was more complicated, more collaborative, more about Bumpy's certainty and Ray's skill and survival instinct overriding moral hesitation. But legends don't care about complications. They care about outcomes. 3 dead, 1 survivor, 1 message. Don't underestimate barbers. Don't underestimate straight razors. Don't underestimate Bumpy Johnson even when he's vulnerable. That was the lesson, written in blood, learned permanently, told for generations.